You're wasting time with Arrow Productions. We are looking at 3 versions of Night of the Iguana. The short story is the most important for understanding the title. It is the only version where the iguana has a significant role. It also has the fewest characters. Miss Jelkes, the artist, is at a small hotel in Acapulco between seasons, along with 2 male writers who are there together. The innkeeper is a Mexican woman whose son captures an iguana and ties it to the building so that he can butcher it later and eat it, as was the custom. The title refers to the guest's last night at the hotel. Miss Jelkes is disturbed by the noise of the iguana trying to get away. One of the writers makes his move on her, and the story ends with her reflecting on the drama in the morning. The short story is set when it was written. At one point, Miss Jelkes wonders if the younger writer is being treated for war-related trauma. Although the play came later, it is the only version set around the time when Tennessee Williams was in Mexico in 1940. What the characters have in common is that they were sitting out the war, which we talked about in another video. The link is in the description below. The play departs from the short story in that it has many more characters, and the writers have disappeared. The characters are largely the cast in the movie. Betty Davis was first cast with top billing as the innkeeper, who was now from the US. The artist was now with her grandfather, Nonno, which suggests an Italian-American background rather than the Southern background in the short story that mirrored the author's family. The play is also where we see the disgraced Reverend for the first time. There are also some Germans who add to the tension. During his trip to Mexico, Williams himself had a run-in with a German woman who ended their conversation by saying, "Excuse me, I don't speak Yiddish." Williams, who did not have a Jewish background, found the incident very troubling. The 1964 movie was set in the year it was made. Most of the characters from the play were there, but the context was vastly different. The action was also moved from Acapulco, which was then in its heyday as a resort, to Puerto Vallarta, which was still fairly small. The movie was very much a 50s melodrama. As you might imagine, this form was in its Baroque period by the time the movie was made. Everyone shouts at each other as they compete for who can project the most emotion. The winner, unfortunately, was Richard Burton, who starred as the disgraced Reverend. Watching him scream and sweat his way through this movie, it's hard to believe that he had once been a lion of the British stage, doing Shakespeare. It might be time to reevaluate him artistically, even though judging things from one period of time by the standards of another can be problematic. This movie shows that he would have lacked the range to film a beer commercial. At the time, he was in a cycle of increasingly bad movies, from which he transitioned to being a talk show guest. One strange choice made for the movie was that it was filmed in black and white. At the time, color wasn't used for serious works of art, but in the absence of anything they had to compete with television, movies were trying very hard to be the cinema. Color would have been better and helped the story be less overbearing. Have you seen or read any versions of Night of the Iguana? Let us know in the comments.